It amuses me when people compare Pokemon to the typical kids show out there. I mean, when is the last time you saw Binky Barnes human pretzel Arthur straight into the hospital? Or Dora force Boots through a brutal cage fight gauntlet until he was unable to walk? Or Franklin put Rabbit on life support simply because a big American man told him to? Pokemon, it can get pretty ugly. And thus it is time to talk about the most brutal beatdowns in the Pokemon anime. Beatdowns so bonkers that you will finish this video wanting to join Team Plasma and put an end to it all. Here we go. Hey Charles, it's everyone. How are you today? Brutal beatdowns. Whether we are talking about the infamous Videl vs Spopovich horror story, Apollo Creed getting cratered by Ivan Drago, any of those banned from YouTube street fights that you feel guilty for watching, or an NHL game gone totally normal. There's just something about watching someone choke down a massive L from an untouchable nightmare opponent that is as mesmerizing as it is horrifying. And things are no different in the world of Pokemon. So today I have curated 10 of the most brutal beatdowns the Pokemon anime has ever known and rank ordered them for your viewing pleasure, or perhaps for your viewing discomfort. Let me tell you, some of these beatdowns are pretty hard on the eyes, like watching an unarmed man boxing a T-Rex. What in the shiny dinies was that? It's just today's sponsor, and he's just in time for a 2-minute chat about 1, why you should play Jurassic World Alive, and 2, how you can win a $50 Nintendo eShop card courtesy of Team charlesHOUSE before we jump into the main course. So please do stick around. Thank you to Jam City for sponsoring this video, and thank you as well to Universal Studios Licensing. You can go ahead and download Jurassic World Alive for free using the link below on your mobile device or tablet. I will also be giving away one $50 Nintendo eShop point card to one random person, so stay tuned until the end to find out how to win. Anyways, Jurassic World Alive is one of the top AR collection games on the market, and it really stands out from the rest for the following reasons. Because all PvP battles and PvE raids are turn-based, this adds a strong layer of strategy to every battle or raid. You still need to assemble the right team with type advantages, but choosing the right moves is just as important to come out on top. The collection mechanic is also unlike anything on the market. You go around the world collecting creature DNA, which is then used to create creatures. And after evolving your creatures, you can then fuse them to create an even stronger hybrid creature to use in battle. There are over 280 marvelous creatures to collect, all with different rarities, from common to rare to epic to legendary to unique to apex, as well as hybrids and super hybrids. Raids are also unique because you can call on the help of your alliance members via the in-game alliance chat feature to help you beat big bosses. Alliances can have up to 50 people, and you can see who is online, so there is very little chance of you not completing your raid. If your alliance is active in PvP and skilled, you can all improve by earning rare and exclusive prizes. When you download now using my link in the description box or pinned comment, make sure to join my alliance, charlesHOUSE, and there are only 49 spots left, so make sure you hurry. If all the spots are full, you can still add me as a friend and maybe even invite me to a raid. One last thing, as mentioned, I will be giving away a $50 Nintendo eShop point card to one person who downloads the game using my link, screenshots themselves hitting level 10, and tags me on Twitter or Instagram at charlesHOUSE. The winner will be announced 1 month from now. Furthermore, if we fill up my entire 50-person alliance with people who have come in using my link, then I will throw in another $20 Nintendo eShop card for one lucky runner-up. Thank you to Jam City for sponsoring today's video, and thank you again to Universal Studios Licensing. And with that said, let the beatdowns begin. In this iconic Pokemon Origins bout, Blue Squirtle outmaneuvered Red's Charmander and went straight for the neck, viciously biting into Charmander's flesh as it struggled to break free. Red just couldn't handle those agonizing screams and was forced to throw the match. The sound of tearing skin, the bone crunching, the squealing, it was most certainly brutal. It is so gruesome watching someone who is completely restrained, taking open hit after open hit to the gut without any chance to defend themselves. And no Pokemon battle has captured that, quite like part 1 of B's Machamp vs Ash's Lucario, wherein Machamp pinned Lucario with 2 arms and used the other 2 to bullet punch its torso into pudding pie with no restraint, and then gave it the squeeze of death. As you can see, it is no easy feat to beat the feat. This battle gave new meaning to the term mental warfare, with Sabrina's Kadabra making a complete mockery out of Ash's Pikachu, slamming it up and down against the ceiling and floor over and over again, forcing it to dance like an idiot, and creating the perfect homage to just how broken psychic types were in the Gen 1 games. Not to mention that Sabrina is quite the sicko herself. Let's be honest, Paul was a bit of a scumbag when it came to the treatment of his Pokemon in the Diamond and Pearl saga, and perhaps the most deplorable instance of his insane soccer dad mentality was the time he forced his Chimchar through an impossible gauntlet in which it had to square off against one of its more powerful teammates after the other, with hardly any time to catch its breath. Chimchar got cratered, and cratered again, but Paul showed no mercy, forcing Chimchar to take the beating until it could no longer walk and hit the dust. It was tough to watch, although it did set the stage for the best revenge arc in the entire anime. Whereas Ash Ketchum handled his Lucario's very first Mega Evolution like an ace, things did not go so well for Karina back in the XY anime, when her newly evolved Mega Lucario turned into a cracked out Batman Jackal who sank its teeth into Pikachu's tail, mercilessly winded him with a slam to the ground before cracking bones, maybe with a savage kick to the ribs. Even worse, Lucario then proceeded to go after Ash, and the only thing that prevented Lucario from putting Ashy Boy 6 feet under before his 11th birthday was a man with luscious eyebrows. Ash versus Paul was the core rivalry of the Diamond and Pearl saga, but we cannot forget the friction between Saturn's Toxicroak and Brock's Krogunk. Krogunk would finally dunk on Toxicroak nearly a decade and a half later in the Pokemon Legends Arceus special episodes, but back then he was hardly a match for his fully evolved rival. In particular, I can recall how at one point in losing its lustrous, Toxicroak smashed Krogunk through a glass ceiling, then leapt down after it and stabbed its unguarded stomach with a nasty poison jab that was probably divine retribution for all those times that Krogunk shut down Brock's mojo, but even so, it was a one-sided battering that was difficult to watch. Brock's Onix may have mouse-handled Pikachu in Ash's very first gym battle, but at least Brock had the compassion to call the match off when it became clear that Pikachu could not win. On the other hand, Lieutenant Surge and his Raichu showed no mercy. From the get-go, Raichu immediately overpowered Pikachu with a superior Thundershock, and Brock recognized the severity of the situation, advising Ash to call off the battle. But Ash refused, resulting in his Pikachu getting devastated by a Mega Punch, a Mega Kick, and a game-ending Thunderbolt that landed Yellow Mickey in the hospital. The unbridled beating left Ash and Pikachu mentally crippled, and Ash even found himself contemplating evolution as the solution. Of course, Pikachu refused and came back the next day to deliver its own smackdown in the name of all Pikachus around the world. Bee sometimes shows her soft side at the table, but when she hits the pitch, she turns as cold as a Magmar murdering cloister. We saw this in Ash and Bee's very first match, wherein her Graplock quickly gained the upper hand over Ash's Riolu and slowly, painfully choked it out on the dojo floor. When Ash refused to throw in the towel, instead of simply having Graplock put Riolu to sleep in its inescapable submission hold, she ordered a point-blank Aqua Break to the face that eviscerated Riolu's last shred of dignity and humiliated our overconfident Alolan champion in front of a bunch of macho men. And go. Ash thereafter went on a depressing losing streak and completely broke down a few episodes later, demonstrating that the worst part of a brutal beatdown is the lingering mental impact. This battle was the community Pee-wee League blowout of the Pokemon world. And beyond the physical abuse of Ash's Pokemon, it was a match that mentally destroyed Ash Ketchum like no other. That said, the physical abuse is worth talking about, so in short, this is what happened. Honchkrow made Grotto look silly, Ursaring annihilated Weezle with a Focus Blast, then crumpled Staraptor into the dust with an absolute smoky dew of a Hammer Arm. Protera stepped in to pick Gliscor apart with Frenzy Plant. Ursaring went berserk with Guts to Hammer Arm Pikachu's limp body into the lake, and Electabuzz finished the match off with a bone-crunching Thunder Punch to Monferno's face. Team Ketchum had a few good moments, but by and large it was a slaughter that left Ash in silent devastation, contemplating the validity of his life philosophies and his approach to Pokemon training. Attaboy, Paul. Knockoff Jake Paul is a jerk, we know that. But his battle against Lana in the quarterfinals of the Manalo Conference revealed how truly mean-spirited he is. Sure, he battled within the rules, but the cruel tactics he employed shocked everyone. Basically, with a trip to the semifinals on the line, it came down to a battle between Guzma's Golisopod and Lana's Primarina. Primarina opened the match by gearing up to unleash Sparkling Area when Golisopod suddenly attacked its neck with Throat Chop, rendering Primarina voiceless. Primarina followed up with Aqua Jet, only for Golisopod to effortlessly block the move and grasp hold of Primarina, butchering it with a series of poison jabs before dropping its limp body to the ground. The match was over before it began, but instead of ending the battle quickly, Guzma has Golisopod pick Primarina up by its tail and continue to stab its unprotected torso with poison jab after poison jab. Primarina desperately lashes out with Icy Wind, but Golisopod merely shrugs the attack off, resuming its assault and delivering another vicious throat chop as punishment for good measure. At this moment, Guzma pauses to glare at Professor Kukui up in the stands, the man whose dreams he wants to destroy so very much, and in this moment it becomes clear that he is putting Lana and Primarina through so much pain simply to satisfy his own personal grudge against Professor Kukui. He is most certainly a nasty guy. The assault continues, and in the end, although Lana and Primarina try to turn the tides by using their Z move, Golisopod effortlessly cuts through it and turns the lights out. Lana runs onto the pitch to care for her crippled Pokemon, and Guzma responds by ruthlessly mocking her. He didn't break any rules, but he is a cruel, savage, troubled man who intentionally prolonged this battle in order to humiliate his opponent and strike fear into all of the spectators in the stadium. It was physical and mental savagery, and not only does Guzma's ruthlessness net Golisopod versus Primarina the #1 spot on this brutal beatdown ranking, but it also made Ash Ketchum whipping his buns all the more satisfying in the next round. Guzma, you are indeed such a jerk.